So what does the split feature do? To be truthfully honest, until yesterday, I had no clue. I hadn't even touched the tool before, mostly because I just hadn't seen it. As a matter of fact, when I read the description of the podcast yesterday, on the first thing, what does the split feature do? Watch this podcast and find out. And I thought, oh, another text to column feature or something along those lines. But obviously, it's quite different. Couple of things I kind of started playing around. I'm like, all right, there's got to be some use for it. And I'm with Mr. Excel on this. I love split panes. As a matter of fact, I use them in almost every single one of my spreadsheets. I usually have data over on the left-hand side that I want to see as I'm going across the screen. And which, were to Microsoft, hey, if you want to put in a feature that does the same thing as what tables do, only with the row headers instead of just the column headers, I'd be ecstatic to see something like that. That's just me. Moving along, though. One thing I did notice is that you can use split and freeze panes kind of back and forth with each other. Because I was playing with it, and then I kind of went back to freeze panes, and it actually kept where I had the splits. Because you can move the same as you kind of move the freeze pane. However, what I did find interesting is that turn split off after you've already done freeze, but doesn't keep the freeze panes. But if you go in and resplit, you can move these a heck of a lot easier than you could go in and try to move any of your freeze panes. So it gives you a little more, a dynamic flexibility feature in terms of what you're having displayed up above, and then of course you can just simply move this around get it where you want to. It freeze panes, and it locks them right where you had them. So it makes it a little more flexible as you're trying to set up your freeze panes. That was one real neat feature that I thought was cool. The other kind of, I was playing around with this last night. I'm like, all right, there's got to be something that split would do that freeze panes doesn't. And that's when it sort of hit me. And let me just show you an example of this. Is that if I come down here, thanks to the way I have this, that I know that there's going to be an error message that I'm over in vitamin A. So if I quickly just I'd have chosen here, which, that's an interesting little thing that it did there, which is easy enough to fix. Just go over to, and there we go. It resets it for me. There we go. Alright, switch back to freeze panes. I want to show this with the freeze panes on. I come over here, vitamin A, and just quickly see that, okay, so those two are my highest hits. Okay. Well, I don't really need the vitamin A pill. And it shoots me all the way back. Well, now I can't see any of the information from vitamin A. Even though, obviously I know what I'm going to do, but if there was something more complex to it that I wanted to check, I just lost all that information. Actually, it's still over there. I cannot see it right now. Yet, if I freeze panes off, go back to the split, and then do that same thing. Come over here, display the data from vitamin A. Of course, I've got all the information there around it. Come over here. Now I can come over here and change the values here and see how they change the values over here. And clear out that. Notice that, that obviously goes away. Come back over here. I can quickly just look up here. Yep, sure enough, not over and under anything. And come back. And sure enough, all clear. So, a couple of neat, interesting ideas on what you might use split for as opposed to freeze panes, in terms of it's a little more flexible with what you can display and edit. You have certain data that you want to display, you want to change it around a little bit, just top on the split feature and a little more flexibility with it. Also, if you're trying to manipulate values, you can come over here, change, use a split, change the values without having to actually go back and forth a whole bunch of times and figure out where the data is. You can keep your data on the right side displayed that you want to change the values, or especially with the split, you can change it whichever window. It doesn't have to be the right side, it doesn't have to be the left side, it can be either which one. So that might be another thing that you would use if you've got data over on the left hand side, but you're changing values on the right hand side, and you're trying to keep adjust where you've got everything situated. That might be another feature. But just kind of my take on where it goes. So I hope that kind of answers your question. I know it's rather rudimentary experience since I'm not exactly the most experienced with Excel. I've only been doing this for about 2 years now, I guess. So that's just my take on it. Hope that helps.